Hello, Greg from Balloon Market here, and welcome to BMTV, the first BMTV of 2020. I hope you had a great Christmas. I hope you had a great New Year. I hope you managed to get some downtime and you're ready and raring to go for your best year ever. Fingers crossed. Yes, we can do it. Anyway, last week I talked about reviewing the year and seeing where you'd come from the 1st of January to the 31st of December and having a look and seeing if you've achieved what it is you wanted to achieve, and if not, why not? That really goes hand in hand with what a lot of people do at the beginning of the year, and that is setting some goals. Obviously, a lot of people call them New Year's resolutions, which is fine. But if you call it a New Year's resolution, you can only do it once a year at the beginning of the year. So if you call it a goal, you can set your goals at any time. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Now, I have talked about that for the last couple of years, but at this time of year. But also, we did a show with our business coach, Kevin Stansfield, a couple of years ago. I think it was October 2 years ago. And it was all about getting your business to that next level. And within that show, he talked a lot about how you can take your dreams, you set your goals, and you work down until you've got an action plan. Now, Kevin is great. Kevin is absolutely fantastic. He deals with businesses from individual one-man bands right up to multi-million-pound businesses. He's been a coach for many years, he's award-winning, and he's absolutely fantastic. I love talking to Kevin, and this show, you're effectively getting a free coaching session, and he's not cheap. So BMTV 143, we'll put the link down below, and have a look at that. Anyway, let's talk about goals and setting some goals. So there's some things you've got to think about when you are setting goals, and the first thing is it's got to be important to you. If you're going to set a goal, something that's not that important to you, you're never going to achieve it. You're never going to put your heart and soul into achieving that goal. So that's the first thing. It sounds like common sense, but a lot of people set goals that they're setting them just to have them as goals, but it's not actually really what they want to achieve. So it's got to be important to you. So it can, I'm talking in this context at the moment, really talking about business goals. So most of you out there would be in business, even if you're working, but you've got your own business on the side, or if you're full-time in business. I'm talking more about the business context. But the same applies to personal goals. Weight loss, sleeping better, eating less, drinking less alcohol, running more, exercising more, whatever it might be, that the same applies for all goals. But I'm really talking about business context. So the first thing, it's got to be important to you. The second thing, the goals have got to be SMART. Now, SMART's an acronym. You might have heard it before, but it's SMART. It's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. So if we take an example of, say you're a balloon decorator and you want to get 50 bookings this year. So let's have a look at that. So is that a specific goal? Well, yes, you've said it's 50 bookings that I want to get this year. You can't get any more specific than that. SM, is it measurable? Yeah, you either hit 50 or you don't hit 50. So you will be able to measure that, no problem at all. Is it achievable? Now this is where I can't say if that's achievable for you. It depends on your situation. But if you're working full-time in your business, let's assume you are working 40, 50, 60 hours a week in your business, would that be achievable? Very probably. If you're working full-time in another job and you're doing your business just at weekends and between dealing with family and everything else, so you're only really spending 3 hours a week on your business, is that achievable? It might be, I don't know. But you've got to think about, is it really achievable? Now, the thing with this is it may be achievable, but you might have to make some changes to the way you do things. And that's one of the things Kevin talks about in BMTV 143, talks about learning. Learning is part of that whole process, because for you to achieve something new, you have to learn something new. The old phrase goes, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. So you need to learn how to do something new in order to achieve something else. So it might be achievable, but you might have to make some changes to your lifestyle. You might say you are working full time and you have this goal. To achieve it, you might have to go part time and work more on your business. So that might be a change that you're willing to make. So SMAR, is it realistic? Again, very similar to, is it achievable? Is it realistic? Well, if you make those changes, it probably is very realistic. If you were to say, yeah, I want 500 bookings this year, in all likelihood, yeah, that's not realistic. So let's be real. Let's get the number to somewhere that it is likely to happen. And then T, time bound. Yes, very obvious. It is 1 year. So are you going to achieve it in this year? So that is the example of how that's what a SMART goal is. So that once you've got that goal in your head, the next important thing is write it down. Richard Branson, I've talked about Richard Branson before when we've done one of these shows at the beginning of the year. He's a big believer in that. Apparently there's something psychological, physiological, that when you physically write something down, you're more likely to achieve it. So write your goals down. I've got a little exercise book in the back of it. I don't know why I write in the back of it, but I write in the back of it and I write what my goals are. And then at the end of the year, I look back and see if I've achieved them. I look at them sometimes throughout the year, tweak them sometimes throughout the year. Depending on how it's going, if it was realistic, because what I thought was realistic might actually, no, that's not realistic now. So you tweak your goals. And that's the thing with goals. You can tweak them and you can change them. So an example, a few years ago, we had one goal and we smashed that. So I made the goal higher than it had been originally. But yes, so you can tweak your goals, but write it down. Absolutely write it down. You can type it as well after you've written it down. Apparently it's something to do with the physical writing that gets it into your head, but typing, once you've written it, you probably have to do that for me because I can't read my writing. But yeah, write it down, really important. So once you've written the goal down, the next thing to do, you've got to have an action plan. Yes, you've got to take some action. So imagine, let's go back to the 50 bookings a year. Well, if you break that down, that works out to be 1 booking a week roughly. So you need to get 1 booking a week. Doesn't mean you need to get the booking for that week, but you need to try and get a booking per week. And obviously as you approach the summer, you might end up getting 2, 3, 4, 5 bookings in a week. And in the winter, you might get 1 or no bookings in a week. But on average, you're looking at 1 a week. So what would you do to try and get 1 booking a week? So you might do some Facebook advertising, for instance. So by the way, Facebook and Instagram advertising, Facebook owns Instagram. Use the same platform in Facebook to advertise on both Instagram and Facebook. It can be so specific. So if you're targeting brides for weddings, as soon as somebody's engaged, you can say target people that have just got engaged, that they are living within 20 miles of you, between the ages of this and that, and they want they're into Gothic themes or something like that. Say you live near a castle and people have Gothic weddings there. You could target that. You can really be very specific. And they might be into fishing. You could probably target that as well. So really specific. It is worthwhile. The more specific you can be, it's worthwhile investing in some Facebook advertising and giving that a go. But that might be one thing that you put on your action plan. Have a Facebook ad every single week and try a different audience for that Facebook ad. It might be contact a venue. We had a gentleman down do some training last year now, and he had 250 bookings for the year, and that's because he was working with venues and he was their preferred supplier for balloons and chair covers and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, build those relationships. So you might say, okay, I'll send 2 emails a week to venues, and then that might get you some more bookings. So you just have to have an action plan and write that action plan down. Again, that can change as the year goes on. And then the last thing, you've got to be persistent. I read an article many years ago, and this guy had interviewed thousands of successful people, business leaders, actors, politicians, etc. And there was one trait that came from all of them that they all said the reason why they became a success, the main trait was persistence. You've got to keep at it. Once you've got your goals, once you've got your action plan, you've got to follow through and do it. And it just works. That's what you've got to do. You've got to keep at it and believe in yourself. So there are my tips for some goal setting. Give it a go. See what you can come up with for this year. Right, now, this morning on the day of filming, we had one of our customers came in and she gave us a Christmas present because, if you hadn't realised, I'm filming this actually before the new year. But anyway, she came in and gave us a Christmas present. Hayley, thank you so much. And yeah, very nice chocolate again. Everybody keeps giving us chocolate. It's not good for me and I can't resist. But Hayley, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Everybody appreciated it. And I was having a chat with her. Hayleys been in the industry less than a year. However, I think she's absolutely got the right attitude. And I think 2020 is going to be a very good year for her. She was very proud of an organic piece that she'd just done. And she showed us a picture of it and a time-lapse video of it. A quite a big piece, but very nicely done. She did it for a friend, and she'd done the pricing using our interactive pricing tool and came up with a price and then decided to discount that for a friend by £100. But she was still making money, which I thought was really impressive. But, you know, people sometimes say, oh no, I wouldn't charge less than this or that or whatever. When you're doing something for the first time, there's no harm in charging less, particularly if it's for a friend, because you want to experiment. You want to see if you can do it well. So she did it, and she still made some money. And Hayley, I have to say, I think you did a really, really good job of it. But Hayley, just to give you an idea, throwing herself into it, she's been to 5 training courses down here at Balloon Market over the last year, which is amazing. Talk about just getting into it and learning as much as you possibly can. As you know, I've always said that training is a great investment, and she has really taken that on board. And she was also part of the Great Ormond Street Hospital Bapia decoration team as well. So really throwing herself into it. However, there was one little thing that she's a little bit nervous about, and it's something I've heard from a lot of people that I thought I would talk about, and it is how to get in with these venues. So the gentleman I just talked about who's got these relationships with these venues, how do you get into these relationships with these venues? And I think in a lot of people's minds it is, you've got to go into the hotel, hi, can I speak to the events manager please? And you don't know the name, and you go in there and you're hoping that they're going to have some time and they'll see you and everything else. And you know what, that might work. If you're one of those people that's just naturally jolly and that can walk in, has got an instantly likable face, and everybody loves you all the time, no matter what, then that's in all likelihood going to work for you. Maybe, I don't know. But I wanted to look at it from a different perspective, because I think a lot of people think that's what you have to do. And I remember when Natalie Saunders was down and she talked about going into car dealerships. I mean, car dealerships can be very intimidating places, particularly if you're going for high-end cars like Porsches or BMWs and things like that. They're lovely, they're plush, and you know, it can be very intimidating. You've got salespeople all over the place sitting down, you know, negotiating. It can be awkward. But Natalie, for instance, she is one of those people that can go in and is just, hello everybody, and really friendly, and she does get the jobs doing it in that way. However, I was thinking about it and thinking about what would I like. And honestly, when people come in and they want to have a chat with me and they're unannounced, I don't really like it, mainly because I'm not there. I'm either up here filming, or I'm out doing something else, or I'm busy just working on something, and it's almost an interruption. So initially, I'm not really keen. Sometimes I will have a quick meeting with somebody, but I find it difficult, as I say, for the main reason, I'm not often there. So if that's the case, then other people are probably feeling the same. So events managers at hotels, for instance, they probably feel very much like that, particularly if there is an event on. So email. I know it sounds old-fashioned, but email. If you write a very well-worded email, very influencing, nice language, and it gives really good examples of what you're capable of, and this is probably the key part, how you can help them. So you're wanting to take some pain away from these events managers at these hotels. So what can you do to do that? And I don't know what the answer is to that. You'd have to decide what that would be. You'd have to know the venue. But a very well-worded email can go a long way. And you can find out who they are sometimes just on the website of the hotel that you're trying to get in touch with, or LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great place to go and find people that work at a specific place and find out what their job role is. And then you can find out a little bit about them. And maybe even find them on Facebook as well. So then you can, don't ever write an email that says, Dear Sir, or Dear Madam, or anything like that. Have the name of the individual. And then try that. So if you are a bit like me, the thought of going in somewhere and selling something to somebody, or asking for a meeting with somebody I've never met before, just cold, is daunting, as it is for a lot of people. But don't think that an email always goes in the junk folder. It really doesn't. So yeah, just a little tip for you there. Right, now let's talk about some products. But Hayley, by the way, I think you're going to do really, really well in 2020. So I wish you all the best, and thanks again for your chocolates. Right now, Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day, obviously you've seen it everywhere now in the supermarkets. It is the next big thing. So I've got a couple of things I want to talk about and a couple of new products that aren't Valentine's Day related. The first thing, this flower wall behind me. This is a hydrangea flower wall. This is a pink and creamy sort of colour, as you can see, and it comes in 8 panels. You can probably see where the joins are, but we've not attached them together. They do have more attachment points, and you can attach them together so they are better, but you probably would have to do a little bit of adjustment with the flowers. But in all likelihood, you are probably going to have balloons on there, or balloons around there, or something with a name or something on there. You're going to decorate it. The creative people out there would know what to do with these. But there's 8 panels. You can get more if you want to make it bigger. And I just think you'd be able to charge, imagine that as a backdrop or a photo backdrop with an organic arch over it or something like that. I think if you're charging for something like that, you could probably make your money back for this flower wall in your first job. So I think I said last week that we are starting to get more of the artificial flowers. So I've got even more hydrangea. Oh, by the way, they come in red, white and cream as well. And then here's some more hydrangea stems. So we are seeing more people doing, as well as organics and balloons mixed with flowers and greenery, we are starting to see people actually create things with the artificial flowers on their own as a piece. So not necessarily florists either. So I think I said we are extending our range of these things. I think I said that last week. So more and more floristry sort of accessories will be coming in. Right, over here, Valentine's Day balloons. I've just brought a few examples up, but to see the full range, just go to balloonmarket.co.uk and click on the big banner that says Valentine's Day. I do want to talk about these. Now, these are the new vinyl. This intense sparkle is the finish. And you've got the light blue, but this has got to be my favourite. This is fluorescent pink. I absolutely love it. When Matt was saying, setting the cameras up there now, he was just saying, it's too bright for the cameras. It is amazing. In real life, it really is amazing. I don't know how well you can see that on the camera, but it is absolutely a beautiful, very bright, very fluorescent colour. Not necessarily just for Valentine's Day, but I think it would go well with for Valentine's Day. And then over here, we've got a couple of Hey Dougie balloons. I don't know who Hey Dougie is, but I've heard people on the phone asking for Hey Dougie balloons. So there they are. And then last but not least, a few new Qualitex latex products. So if we had Mark here, I'm sure he'd create something amazing with these new colour combinations. So we've got the 11-inch round and the 5-inch of the tricolour metallic mix. So it looks like it's gold, rose gold and silver. And then you've got the candy assortment over here that is a few too many colours for me to remember. So they are new from Qualitex. Right, that is it. So the question of the week this week, please leave your comments down below on Facebook and on YouTube. It is, what is your main goal in 2020? Leave it down below. Right, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I hope you have an amazing 2020 and I will see you next week. Bye.